Okay, I'm back working on the truck again. Video might look different. It's the first video I've taken with my new camera, which I can't show you because I'm obviously filming on it. So the rear brakes should be done. Now I'm going on to the front brakes. Just because of, I don't know, past experience of how these trucks, I'm just going to change the calipers right away. Because all that's going to happen is when I go to bleed, the bleeder is going to snap off or the caliper is going to melt itself first time I drive it. So I'm changing calipers, hoses. The lines will break going from the hose to the proportioning valve. On these trucks it's hard to see, but the proportioning valve, you can see where these lines are running. Actually, you can see it right there. It's that little bit of rust. It's down underneath the radiator. So your lines run from your master down there. There's a left and right line that tee off to each wheel. Those are 3/16 lines. And there's a 1/4 inch line that tees off, goes over to the passenger side, and then runs back the whole length of the truck. So like I said, I'm just going to change the calipers and then see what breaks from that point in. I'm assuming probably about everything. Okay, I got the caliper bolts out and the banjo bolt out. Here's the banjo bolt. It holds the brake line on the back of the caliper. It'll have brass washers on both sides of it. You want to loosen that before you loosen the caliper, because the caliper will stay in place then. You can leverage against it. And then these calipers are held on by a kind of one-piece bolt and guide pin. So this rusty part here is what the caliper actually slides on. As you can see, that's in great condition. So you want these like smooth and greased up. So I should be able to pry the caliper off, and sometimes these are a little bit harder than others. Oh, that one comes right off. So then putting a new caliper on is pretty much just putting it on with the new brake pads in it. Okay, new caliper and pads are on. The caliper will come with the new bolts. Well, it should at least. And even though my old pads had plenty of meat left on them, I just put new ones on because they're like $18 for a set of pads. And the old ones were, upon inspection, riveted, which personally I don't like. They can fall apart and the rivets will, if you wear the pad down, the rivets go into your rotors. So now I just got to put the hose on with a new hose. This is the less fun part. Well, there's the new brake hose. I got the old one off. As I suspected, the brake line refused to come off. So I cleaned up the banjo bolt. These normally don't come with the caliper or with the hose. This one's like minty once I wire wheeled it off. So on both sides of it, let me acquire it here, go these brass washers. So you put one on each side of this brick, then the bolt goes through it right into the brake caliper. On these Chevys, there is a little external thread on the other side, which this thing goes onto, and this goes through the frame rail and holds the hose on. This on the 2-wheel drive ones. The 4-wheel drive ones have like a bracket that comes off here and up, and the hose kind of just holds there. This is what I'm showing on a 2-wheel drive. And then there's also another bolt that goes here, which holds it right here to the control arm. I had to cut that off. It just wouldn't come out. The head on the inside for some reason was rounded off or something. So I'll just put another nut and bolt on there. So I'm going to put that on now. I'm going to make a new brake line to go from the hose to the proportioning valve. Okay, I'm just making, this is the passenger side brake line. Already got the driver's side done. So this goes from the proportioning valve over to the passenger side. Had the flare both ends there. Breaking the nut loose on the driver's side. Man, just smashed the crap out of my hand on the radiator. Gushing blood fantastically. So that's all taped up. Probably should have stitches, but it won't stop bleeding. So I guess I'll finish this up now. There we go. Got both sides done. New calipers, new brakes. New brake hose going up into the frame. I have new lines run underneath the proportioning valve. So brake should be done. New master, new wheel cylinders, new everything. Now I just gotta bleed it out. Guess I'll do that in the next video. Hopefully there's no leaks, and then this, I don't know, we can see how it drives.